am grateful, thankful, and blessed to have an amazing network. Like, I know some pretty dope people. Um, some of you guys tuning in now. I can't wait to have you on in the future. Just saying. So I want to be able to share them and all of their dopeness with you all. So that my mantra for you guys that have been following me for a while, help me, help you, help us. Because it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Like, if we're all not leveling up together, what fun is that? And that is my sole purpose, is to, one, help me so that when I work with you guys, you already have a lot of the resources that you need. Help you because then you can level up, and then help us because my squad and now my new squad, which is you guys, can come together and we can all create some magic and make this world a better place. So that's the whole sentiment and premise behind it. We started it years ago. It kind of fell off, brought it back the end of 2020. And so we're going to keep it going in 2021. I'm super excited to introduce some of these people to you all because, yeah, like I said, they're absolutely amazing. So, I come on early to jump in. For those of you who are new, welcome. I'm Jateya Jones of Jateya Jones Consulting, and I help you get clear in what you do, not how you make your money, so that once you know what you do, you can just make money doing you, because life is short, and I feel that we all should enjoy it while we're here and actually do that stuff that livens us up and lights our fire, as well as our God-given talents, that thing that most people call purpose. And we can walk in it and thrive in it and live fulfilled lives and be this rippling effect of healing and prosperity. At least that's my prayer for me, is that everything that I do is a rippling effect of healing and prosperity, so that you guys can then continue to cast that net among your population, target population. I see Antoinette just joined. So that they can continue this rippling effect. And then in turn, the whole world is a better place, right? So it is not giving me, maybe if I go this, ta-da! I feel like it's done demos in here. So anyway, I've rambled on and there she is. Hello.
Hey,
Oh, good. That volume's good. How are you, honey?
I'm good. How are you?
I's good. I can't
Do
be
it
here.
doesn't do I look dark?
No,
Like no, I'm not no, I need a tan. I mean like
no, your lighting's
the
fine.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You're a little this way because I know you'll see the video later. Perfect. There we go.
Oh, it's the arm on this thing. It's
It's a
doing a
little
thing.
loose.
Oh, is that better? No? I,
It's not that bad. I just know that when you
okay.
see the video later, you're gonna be like, "Why am I?" But it's not
You're
that bad.
right. You're right. I
I
will.
know. I know. Okay, so I was about to call him his nickname. Randy is in the comments and he said hi. I'm trying to do
I was gonna
better.
say it too.
I
Hi,
know, right? Because I called Tisha May. I called Tisha May earlier. I was like, y'all, her
Randy.
name is not Tisha May. So I'm do better because it's so. Hi, Lady Kendall. Welcome. Um,
I haven't seen you in a long time. Hey.
these things are really more like family. Like, my whole goal, seriously, is for us all to be one big happy family. So we get a little comfortable, but I'm gonna try not to call nicknames. I'm sorry.
Please. Please.
You hush, because I already know what you're talking about. But anyway, this is not supposed to be long. These are normally only like 15 to 30 minutes. Originally, I started them based on networking to introduce you guys to my network. Because I was mainly at that time when I was a natural networker. I've pivoted now to Jateya Jones Consulting, but I was working with introverts and students, right? And so introverts have a hard time networking, a lot of times because we're in our heads more than not, right?
Who's
But
we?
huh?
Who is we?
We as an introverts out in the atmosphere, okay?
Oh, you mean like me, not like you.
Me
I just
as
wanted to.
well. I've
Okay.
evolved. I am now an ambivert. I'm not
Okay.
as introverted as I used to be.
Okay.
But yeah, me. I started it for people like me, you know?
Okay.
Hush. See, Whitney, get your friend. So anyway, I still want to keep the premise of networking here. Like I said earlier, help me help you help us. I want us all to kind of thrive and level up together. So we do still have a network component in this, but it has evolved, so as I, to really more so encompass different networks, right? So there's so many different jobs and careers, and the more we walk in purpose, things are created that we've never heard of before, right? So before today, I would have been like, what is this clean and green? Which she'll tell y'all more about that later, because I always mix up the terminology. I'm trying to get better, okay? But that is the whole purpose of walking in purpose, is like, if it's not created, to create it and then help other people know what that is. So I always say the television at one point in time was not a thing, and now everybody pretty much has one. So my spiel to you is, if you feel purpose is out there for you and it's not, there's nothing for you to look at as an example, be that example. Be the trailblazer that creates this path for others to come behind you and then improve what you've created, right? So
Right.
with that being said, welcome Antoinette Erskine of the Brown Girl in a Green World. I'm going to shut up for a minute. Well, first I'm going to tell you guys, I met her in the 90s, which if you saw my story earlier today, we met in college, freshman orientation, because our mothers were
We're
talking.
networking.
Right. They were networking, right? And they're like, you guys should be friends. And I was like, I don't know about her. But as you can see, I love her dearly, and we're still rocking to this day. So that is how I know her. It's been many, 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 many moons. And so I've seen her evolution and how she's evolved. And she was always that one in college that exposed me to some things. I'll give her credit for that. Do y'all see her face? Do you see what I'm dealing with? So anyway, one of the other stories I always tell is, she is Jamaican, and so we were roommates at one time, and I came home and I saw fish head stew in like one of those Chinese to-go things, and I was like, what is this? Like, right? But it's actually pretty tasty. So she opened my eyes to so many things, and green and clean things, and why we should take it more important, or prioritize it more in our lives, and especially when it comes to our bodies. She has opened my eyes as to that as well. So I feel that you guys should know this good stuff too. Now I'm gonna shut up and let you tell them about you, who you are, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
So I'm Antoinette Erskine, as Jateya has said. I am a multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate person. So my undergrad degree is actually in fashion marketing. My master's is in health and wellness, but I'm also a licensed esthetician and makeup artist. So I do it all. But I put the world of fashion behind me and focused more on beauty. And that's actually an area that I really, really love. However, one of the things that kind of redirected my path in that area is I had a loved one pass away from breast cancer. And now this is back in the 90s, so we're going way back with this. At the time, her physician told her and the rest of our family to kind of shift our lifestyle. And one of the first things he told us to do is start eating organic foods. So like in 96, 97, we were going to Whole Foods when it was still like a really small store before it's the Whole Foods that you know now. And that was just basically to help to keep certain toxins out of her bodies, not to feed the cancer. Unfortunately, she did pass away, but that was kind of my driving force as to why I decided to redirect the products that I was actually using, because then I realized how toxic a lot of the products that I use on clients, on myself, were, how harmful they were to us. And so I started doing my research, and it became really a lifestyle, but a lifestyle that I wanted to share with everyone. From, as Tia said, I've always kind of been that girl in the group where I was like the go-to for like certain information when it came to fashion or beauty or things like that. That's the kind of stuff that like gets me excited. But wellness and health became extremely important as I got older and started dealing with my own stuff. And so I I merged both worlds together where I can share my love for beauty and my love for women's health. And so I am a reproductive health coach. I help women who are struggling with menstruation, infertility, anything you can think of, fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, the whole gamut of reproductive health. I also do vaginal steaming. See, I told you I pretty much like I'm a multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate person, but they all bring me joy, and I don't want to choose one over the other. And so my job essentially is to teach, to serve, specifically women. But I think once women are taking care of themselves, they can take care of everybody else. So that's who I am.
Exactly. But I love the fact that you said you're a multi-passionate, multi-hyphenate person,
Mhm.
because you shouldn't, for my multi-passionate people, because for you guys who've been following me for a while, you also know my story as well, right? So you shouldn't have to give up pieces of you. They definitely have a common thread in the fabric that is you, that once you
Mhm.
identify what that thread is, you can hone in on it and use it to, like I said earlier, make money doing you once you know what you do, right? And so
Yeah.
for those of you guys out there, it is okay when people be like, you all over the place, you did it, you doing too much. No, you're not. Keep doing you, okay? And then come talk to us.
Because I felt that way. I
Right.
did feel that way. I felt like I was all over the place. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. People ask you what you do, and you're like, well, now,
And you see that look they give you, like, ugh, right?
or you just don't want to talk about it because you don't want to be judged. But essentially, it doesn't matter which field or industry that I'm in. What I'm here to do is serve women to live their best, most healthy life. So yeah, I always encourage people, just follow your heart, follow your dreams, and figure out what that bottom line is. I forget the title. The
Right.
title really doesn't mean
Say it one more
anything.
time for the people in the back, please.
The title really doesn't mean anything at all. It really doesn't.
So
So
yeah, I love that you said that. I really, really do, because, and also the fact that you're like, your backgrounds, fashion, and then health, and then, because especially for women, we feel like we need to be overly educated in order to be able to do what we do and be validated, or be good at
mhm.
what we do, or respected in what we do. But when it really is the fabric that is you, you can't help but be good at it, right? So like,
Right.
I've talked to you 1,000 times about some of the things that to the novice in the green clean world, you're like, but I think everybody knows that. And I'm like, no, no, we don't. Because it lights your fire. So you are more so directed to that. You research that, you enjoy reading about it. Whereas I would get frustrated trying to figure out between 7, 9, and however, whatever that terminology is when it comes to nail polish.
Yeah.
And I would rather just come to you and you tell me that. So no matter
Right.
what your industry is, if you are multi-passionate, ride that wave, because you will be able to connect with and relate with your target population that seems so vast, but they have that one thing in common too. And so they're coming to you for that collective group experience. I always say life happens for you, not to you, even though
To
it
you.
feels like it a lot of times. But the good and the bad, those experiences and all that good stuff back there, you look back when you finally hit this thread and identify it, and you're like, okay, thank you, because now I know why I had to do that. And so with your fashion, I've always told Antoinette too, guys, she's always been like the luxury. I've never been like this brand name stuff. I'll just be like, oh, that is fire, I want that, right? But who is by? And that's never been me. And so she was always fashionable. And I'm like, she's like, yeah, so this is this. And I'm like, okay. But I bring that up to say luxury, right, is her thing. And so for those of us, right, who we have our different levels of luxury or self-care practices, you might want to love on yourself more than your friend does, or the way that your friend does. And so she connects those two worlds because of her diverse background, right? So she connects the two worlds of clean and green and luxury without compromise. Because y'all, I talked to her about, I don't want to waste money. on trying this and trying that. I need you to vet stuff for me. Tell me why I shouldn't, why I should, where to go get it. But it still needs to fit my lifestyle. And that's what makes it easier for it to become a lifestyle and not a fad, not a trend, not I tried, but I really didn't try, because I got this, holistic, healthy set of sanitary napkins in my closet that have all this thermal stuff going on down there, and I really don't like it.
Menthol, not thermal.
It heats up, it warms up, the temperature.
You don't want a hot crotch.
All that stuff changes down there, and I'm like, so for her, I that's one of the things that I love, is that she's able to come in and educate, but do it without compromise. So with all that being said, you understanding the journey of a multi-passionate, multi-hyphen person, and the judgment and the stigma that comes with that, and how it can kind of deflate you, right? And make you
for sure
not want to try, not keep going, whatever the case may be, just be lost, hide, right? What is like one of the major networking or finding your tribe type of thing that like roadblock that you face the most?
I would say people that just look like me. The first time I realized that people who look like me didn't really understand like what I did was actually when I was in school for my license to become an esthetician. A lot of this is what, 2009. So what, 12 years ago? A lot of Black women just didn't even know how to take care of their skin. They were afraid. They were sensitive. It was a whole slew of things. So finding other people in the industry that looked like me was hard, right? So, and for me, I really wanted to serve women who looked like me. So that made it that much more difficult, because it's like, who do I turn to ask for advice? Who do I turn to kind of mentor me and walk me through this process? I didn't have that. Eventually, I started meeting people like on social media. You actually introduced me also to someone as well. But another thing that I was dealing with was where I live. I live in, I call it a big town. It's supposed to be a big city, but it's a really big town in the way that people approach lifestyle, as people that look like me. And so that was something that it was just really, really difficult. So I found myself looking elsewhere. Didn't prove to be that easy. And so that was another reason why I started looking at other things. Cause I'm like, okay, maybe this is just not it. Like, what do I do? Okay. I'm really interested in health. Let me go. And what's crazy is when I transitioned into health, the person who actually helped me was someone who didn't look like me. And so that's when I kind of had to step back and realize that maybe where the help comes from is not as important as the information that they're providing me, the tools that they're giving me access, or tools and resources that they're giving me access to, was more important than the fact that she didn't look like me, but I didn't have anybody to tell me better. I'm just trying to connect with someone who may understand my journey. And so just that was I wouldn't say it was out of my comfort zone. It just wasn't how I had it mapped out. And I had to, you proud of me?
Listen, you just said so many things, and I'm sitting over here like, Jateya, be quiet, do not interrupt her, okay? So like, things that I've really been talking about, or like preaching about lately, have been going outside of your area code and your zip code. Like, especially being from the South, in my generation, right, before social media, like, we've adapted,
right?
But you didn't have as easy access to things outside your zip code, outside your area code. And so those that were teaching you, training you, showing you, that's just what they did, right? Like, I even had somebody tell, excuse me, one of the teens in the nonprofit, you need to go and put in an application. And I was like, do they even do paper applications anymore? But because that is what they, know. And so going outside of that exposes you again, one, to the difference in pay and how you might be putting yourself on the clearance rack, right? Especially if you're
Mm-hmm.
servicing people via virtual land. And then you also said, oh, and I literally just had a conversation yesterday and today about, with the environment that we live in right now, it's really easy to get caught up in color, in like in boxing people
Mm-hmm.
in, right? Because especially when you are on the side of receiving the short stick, right? It's real easy to be like, oh, I don't like white people. And the thing of it is, or I don't like black people, right? So I was having these conversations specifically to a black female, and they're in a very white environment. And I was like, we got to remember, if we want Black lives to matter, all lives have to matter at the end of the day, right? Before y'all come for me,
I'm
let
following.
me explain myself, right?
I'm following.
People are people, and
Yeah.
you treat people how they treat you to a certain extent, right? Now, because is a seemingly large population that is very ignorant and disrespectful and hurtful, we have to be fair if we want to be treated fairly and give people a fair chance to show and prove who they are and what they are and where their heart lies, right? And so when you said it was somebody that didn't look like you, that is a person, and they have that heart to help,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have
Yeah.
that heart and passion for that industry. And so for us not to miss out on opportunities and or blessings because we've boxed people in, because I have
Or
some,
box them out, really.
oh, exactly, or box them
Yeah.
out, because it's like the friends that I have, I love my friends of other, like, love them, and if you come for them, it's a problem. And
Yeah.
so we have to remember that as a whole, which hopefully will help us one day get to the whole I have a dream result, right? So yeah, it was just a lot of things that it was one more thing you said, but I really don't remember now, that you said that stood out to me. That was just beautiful in general. Okay, so now you have this person who's helped you get into this arena, show you the
Mm-hmm.
ropes, light your fire again, right? Um, was there what were there any other, not per se obstacles with networking, but tips, I guess, lessons learned that you can share, especially in your industry, whether it's fashion, beauty, now health, or the accumulation of all of that, that you could
Mm-hmm.
share?
Mm. Um, I guess it's all kind of intertwined with networking. But just what is it? Always be learning. Is that how they say it now? Something like that. Um, because the more you search, the more you find. And what I mean find is like you get connected to other people. Social media is an amazing platform. It's a great tool to connect with people in your industry. You don't necessarily have to DM, but are you in their comments? Are you interacting with them in their space so that they see your name popping up, and so um, they might not know exactly what you do, but they associate the name with the face and your topic. So there must be something. So if at some point you do reach out, or some point they decide to follow you, that's a connection. And sometimes it's not even them, it's the person that they know, right? That's really what networking is. I may not be able to help you, but I know somebody else that might help me, help you, help us. Yes.
Exactly.
I mean,
That just made me so happy. But yeah, exactly. Great. That's a great. I mean, you gave. I'm so proud today, because like you just gave like a whole like word. So one, virtually networking. That is a great point. Like commenting, actually engaging with people before you just fall in their DMs and be like, "Hey, you." Um, and so they know you, they associate with you, and it's kind of like being in person. I tell people a lot of times too, when it comes to networking, it's kind of like dating. Like, can you take me out to dinner a couple of times before you try to take me home? Like, just
Mhm.
same difference. Like, talk to me, engage with me, let me know that you really understand and take interest, right, in what I do and what I'm about. Because like they say, no, they what do they say, people don't care what you know until they know that you care, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so it's the same premise. Like, I am more apt to receive whether it's your ask or a suggestion or feedback, no matter what it is, if I know that you care before you trying to tell me what you know, because I don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great one, virtual networking tip. And two, yes, like that is the whole premise of networking is if you look on LinkedIn, it always says second relation or first or
Mm-hmm.
third or whatever. So seriously, like go see who's in your friends, who your friends are connected to if they're sharing their network with you. Because it literally might be if I like, for example, if you come and say, Tia, I need marketing because I see her on here, right? You know Tracy Burton from
Oh.
Catmandu, but I'm gonna be like, you know what? Let me tell you about this young chick right here who is beasting in these streets when it comes to, and I can make that introduction because one, I vetted her, right? I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
transparent in whatever I think about the situation because I need to protect you. I'm going to protect my network, but at the same time, expanding the network because you would never know her. You know, she's literally on the other side of the world from you, pretty much,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's what it's really all about. And if that is your friend, so I always say too, your friend's friend should be your friend if they your real friend.
Real friend.
Real
See
friend.
that's the caveat. Make sure. One thing I wanted to say, I think for someone like me, I would actually say I'm an ambivert, right? So my friends would probably say that I am not an introvert, but I really am, right?
I would categorize
Um,
you as, yeah.
but virtual networking is less intimidating, right? For many reasons. One, you can show up as yourself physically, right? You still have to have, there's still protocol to it when you're approaching people, which you talked about. But for people who are introverts or ambiverts, it's a lot easier to do it virtually than face to face. So I think that people should take advantage of the fact that we do have platforms like this to reach out to people. Just make sure that they know how to step to people because there's nothing worse than stepping up into someone's DM and you talk to them like you know them. Like we don't know each other, so hi, how are you, blah blah blah, or don't even DM. Maybe it's an email, but nonetheless you have access. That's another thing. Then when you're meeting someone in person, you don't necessarily have access to them on these social platforms. They might have their email there, they might even have an address to an office, whatever the case may be, but there's access to them. So I say take advantage of virtual.
Yes. Great points. Great points. Because especially for introverts, one, we love real conversation, one-on-one conversation, right?
Mhm.
But to that point too, another tip, y'all, please, please, for me, if for nobody else, when you fall into somebody's DM, don't DM them and say, hey, can I ask you a question? If y'all don't just ask that question, like, especially if I'm checking the DM, me and other people I've had these conversations with them, it's like, you already have my attention if I'm actually seeing your DM or your message or your email. For me to respond to you and then say, yeah, go ahead and respond to me. Like, you're wasting time because you could have either gotten the answer to your question or whatever the case may be by the time if I even respond to say, yeah, go ahead and send me the message. Like, that's a virtual tip. Like, if you're already in there,
Mm.
greet, hey, I love, like, again, nobody care what you know until they know that you care. Tell me something. So, like, there's this new thing, well, not new thing, but this salesy thing is how I feel, which is the introvert probably coming out of me because I know some extroverts who love it. But you'll find people, especially on Instagram, they'll go to your page, they'll like 3 of your things, probably ain't even read them, and it's back to back to back. And then they'll follow your DMs and be like, hey, I love your stuff.
Mm.
Can I ask you a question? Or are you interested in a program? Or I have this, because all they want to do is get to the sale. I've been trained that way by some people too, and it just feels really unauthentic to me.
Yeah, it's
So
inauthentic. Yeah.
even if I do the same template, I'm gonna go to your page. I'm gonna look at your stuff. I'm really gonna read your stuff, see if I really even like you before I want you as a client, because it's kind of like getting a new doctor or whatever. But then I'm gonna fall into your DMs And I'm going to say what I have to say. I'm not going to ask permission to ask you
See,
a
I talk like
question.
that in real life, though. I mean, like, let me ask you a question.
But you
So,
said, let me ask you a question, and then you're going to follow up with your question. You're not going to say, can I ask you a question? And
okay.
then wait for
Yeah.
me to respond to you, even if we are in person. Because I'm going to sit there and
True.
look at you and be like, okay, go ahead. What you want? Right?
True. Yeah.
So, like, take advantage of that while you're in there. Be genuine, be authentic, do all the cordial things, like if we don't know each other. But don't ask permission to do what you just did. You already fell in
Right.
my DMs. What you asking
Right.
permission for? Just do
True.
it, right? And then
Right.
wait for the response. Because one, if I'm gonna say yes, now you've got a faster yes than waiting a whole nother whatever for me to fall in your DMs or remember to even respond to your next DM. Okay. So that's my tip on that.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
see you. I see you over there. So okay, I'm trying to check the clock because I want to be respectful of time, right? So, because we can key all day.
Mm-hmm.
Because y'all, this is what we really do in real life. We're on our best behavior for you guys tonight. I just want you to know. So,
See, I'm trying to hold it together.
before we go, I really want you to at least educate them on one thing, right? It can be a real definition of clean versus green. It could be benefits of steaming, because you actually sent me the video of the lady trying to sell the girl a steam packet in the nail salon. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's becoming like a fad type of thing these days. And so the whole purpose is that we're equipping and preparing people to really live this life and it to be a lifestyle, right? So
Right.
free
Mm-hmm.
game as to what you want to choose, but if you can educate us on one thing so they also know that you're the truth and this is why they need to come to you if they have more questions.
One thing.
I mean, you can choose more
Oh,
than one,
Lord.
but I'm just saying.
Okay, so I mean, you automatically started with the feminine care and stuff like that. So I am a huge proponent when it comes to using. Okay, no, let's back up. So you said to make the distinction between like organic, natural, non-toxic, clean,
Yeah,
and all
because
that kind of
I
stuff,
still mess
right?
it up.
Most people just kind of use these words interchangeably, and some of them can be, but they're not all the same. So my personal take on lifestyle is a non-toxic lifestyle. And that's essentially meaning that it doesn't have to be a natural product, but the ingredients, the chemicals do not adversely affect any organ systems, right? So they're non-toxic. That can be interchanged with clean, but clean is a little different. Clean, you can look at sustainability as far as how it's produced, the packaging. Um, and when I say how it's produced, it could be slave labor. It could be like how it's processed. Does it release certain chemicals? All of that kind of stuff. So clean and non-toxic can be the same thing, but that's that little change. Natural, of course, people just want as something as its pure form, and then organic, not created with pesticides and all that kind of stuff. Can something be all? Yes, because an organic product can be non-toxic and clean, but just because it is natural doesn't mean that it can't be toxic to the body, right? Because too much of anything is not good. So like I said, I believe in science. Because science is real. So chemicals to me are not something that I shy away from. It's just how does it respond into the body? And because we are exposed to so many things on a day-to-day basis, from what we put on our hair, what we put on our body, what we put on our skin, all that kind of stuff, it's important to me to reduce the amount of toxic ingredients on a daily basis. So that is that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Does
Yeah,
that make
because
sense?
one of the things that when you were like, just because crap, you said something about natural and it could still be toxic, I think is what you
Oh.
said. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't correlate that as well as when you said, I think it was natural is about the sustainability or like, how it affects the
Clean.
earth. So
Clean
that's
is the sustainability. Because think about like essential oils. You may or may not know, but essential oils can be really toxic if you use too much, right? Some essential oils could actually kill you,
I
right?
have recently learned about candles and the
Right.
stuff that it
What they had. Right. So that's why I don't get hung up on that whole natural stuff. I just care what it does to my body. How does it adversely affect my body? Because there are ingredients that are endocrine disruptors that do trigger allergies, that help that suppress the immune system, things like that. So that's really what it's about. And like I, shared earlier, having someone who was told to just kind of shift their lifestyle, hoping that it would enhance their last days or even potentially save them, was important to me. And I've seen changes in myself.
Mhm.
Like now, perfumes are like my son hates when I say this word, my jizz. I love perfumes. Like I will spend lots of money on perfumes, man. Like lots of money, like a handbag on perfume, right? That was really my thing. Um, but now because I haven't used and I don't do oils and all that kind of stuff, I still got to be that chick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Luxury,
doing. I don't.
luxury.
There's nothing wrong with oils. That just ain't my jizz, right? So perfumes are really important. But when I smell, like if I walk into like Bloomies or Neiman's or something like that, the scent is so overpowering. Like it's very hard for me to smell them, and that was my thing. So once you start changing things like that, you'll notice how you're affected by the things that you used to actually like.
Right.
Um, so yeah, so I would start with the feminine products. I think that's like the easiest because now you can find that down the aisles of Target and Walmart.
Where
Right.
before
Some of
we
the
could.
other things you might have to go online and things like that. So with feminine care, there's so many great brands. Of course, Honey Pot. I'll always support Honey Pot because they are black owned female business. But not everybody's a Honey Pot fan, right? So my personal favorite is Cora. You might see their ads online, but they are also sold in the store in Target.
Okay.
I say go to Target. Don't go to Walmart because one time I went to Walmart and I bought some stuff from Walmart and it was it was the worst. Oh my God, I was so mad. I won't tell you why it was bad. Do you remember why it was bad? Because I know I told you why it was bad. Okay, so I would just say stick to Target. Okay. But you have Cora, you have Rael, you have the L brand, you have Honey Pot, you have options. And I know like Kotex and Always, they are, doing their own versions. But if you go to Whole Foods, they have, I think it's Natura Care or Natura Care or something like that. They have stuff. So that is like really easy to transition into. Most people say that if they have really heavy cycles, they've noticed that they've actually like calmed down. They don't bleed as heavy, they don't bleed as long. And so, yeah, I would say start there. Start with your feminine care products. They
Okay.
have tampons, they have liners, pads, overnights, all of that kind of stuff, or use cups. You have options,
Option.
but you want options that don't have other chemicals. There are lots of research that will tell you that it actually doesn't do anything for your body, but a man can't tell me. A man who makes a tampon can't tell me what it's doing to my body. Okay, I don't care. I'm sorry. No,
Y'all see? Y'all see? Why we
no.
end up cut that right there.
I don't care how many
No,
stories and
that's real.
research studies that they do, all that kind of stuff. You can call it anecdotal, you can call it whatever you want to, but everyday women will share how it's been helpful switching to that. As you said, Honey Pot, they actually have essential oils in there. So it's the menthol, peppermint, I think they use.
Mhm.
And some people like it, some people don't, but it's still a great option for people who want to feel fresh. So,
Ah.
yeah.
So Lindsay says she uses L and she hasn't had a cramp since. Good to know.
See, yeah.
There you have it. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, that's definitely the easiest way. I'm trying to think of some other stuff in this. And another thing, the reason why I love non-toxic, this you guys probably wouldn't do because I do all the research, but there are a lot of brands that we currently are familiar with, big brands that you find in Sephora and Ulta, that the brand itself might not be a clean brand, but they have products within the brand that are clean. So like this lippy right here, it's actually Fenty, but this particular lipstick, not all their lipsticks, this particular one, I don't remember what not the color, but this lipstick line
Mm-hmm.
is actually rated really low on the scale.
Now you can
So
we go check because this lippy here is Kat Von D, and I know it's vegan, right?
it's vegan.
But
So
I
that's the difference. So people get the vegan versus cruelty free has nothing to do with the ingredients. It just
right.
means whether or not it has animal byproducts or animal products, or if it was tested on animals. So
I know.
ingredients don't really mean anything, but people still think clean when they hear vegan.
Right. I just know I love it because this is
Right.
the everlasting lip stain. Love. Y'all just saw me take a sip of my coffee, but I mean I love, and my lips stay moist. So, that's the whole thing about switching or changing this lifestyle without compromise, right? So if I can get like under here, I have the Bite lip primer, right? So
hmm
I know that is one of your approved
I do approve of bite.
lines,
Yeah.
and it works, right? So it does what it says it's gonna do, to help keep my lips moist and keep the stain on or the lipstick on. So
Right.
that was an easy switch for me. I even love their foundation. It's not as pigmented as I would like, because like some of the other foundations that I've used, I didn't have to use a concealer or whatever, but my face loved it, right? So, but yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna let y'all follow her for all these details. I'm trying to keep it, but if you have questions, you can use either type it in the chat and or the Q&A thing. I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all that now. So you can get some questions, some specific questions if you would like answered. But yeah, so she's been my go-to person. That's like the wealth of knowledge for me if I have questions. Because I am or was the one with horrible cramps. Okay. Horrible. With the 7-day cycles and all my friends are like, well, why are you still hemorrhaging like a slaughtered pig? And I'm like, I don't know. So that was my life, right?
Oh, your period is still on.
Right.
What?
These are the conversations, real life conversations we have, right? And so, over the years, I've made adjustments. I did have the fibroid surgery also, which got better with changing my diet as well. What's your favorite deodorant and face care line?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. So this one I'm really excited about, right? So the deodorant. Now listen.
Because that's been a journey for you.
Ooh, okay, like a journey where I've like, you know what? Maybe I need to go back to over the counter. Like I might have to risk all this aluminum and breast cancer just because I smell like a billy goat. Like we can't do this, right? But a black owned company, yo, when I say it's the truth, it is the truth. Play pits. Play pit. I will sing their
Play with a
praises.
P.
Play, Playpits. So she started off with deodorant for her kid, and then she got the men's and the women's and all that. Ooh, when I tell you, and I smell fresh. It's good. It is so good. I love
Y'all
it.
really
Ooh.
heard some of the conversations that we have, like over the years. I felt for her in her deodorant journey because I was like, girlfriend.
Listen, I don't play with the underarm. Like one thing I'm not gonna do is walk around here smelling frowsy. Like that is just not okay for me.
Frowsy.
So I tried. What do you make that face for?
Frowsy. You can tell me
You
the
know I'm
definition
Jamaican. I be
later. I
saying
know.
stuff,
Tell
and
me.
I always have to be like, okay, so in Jamaica we
I was like, what?
so frowsy is just it's just stink, but frowsy is just Oh,
Okay.
see, my cousin is on here. She's laughing. She know. Always have to translate.
Yes, I appreciate
Um.
it. I promise you, I'm, self-proclaimed one of these good old days. She done wrote me in real nice, y'all. So to the Jamaican culture. Okay, so we do also have the
Oh, and she
toothpaste
said face
suggestions. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
toothpaste,
No,
fa-
finish
um,
her with the face.
skincare. That one's a little more personal. Depends on like what you mean. Like what is it a particular product? Because I don't stick to one line.
Is there a
I like
particular
different things
cleaner,
for
primer, like specific area or, something to do on the face?
and toothpaste. So I'll be honest with you. I used to love Jason's Jason's brand. And they have, okay, so for me, it's not always just if it's effective, but what the company stands for, right? And they were bought out. I could be lying, y'all. Don't hold me. But I think they were bought out by Coca-Cola. And so it's just the integrity of the product has been compromised. So I'm still looking for one that I really, really love. I've been ordering some stuff. You tell her I have another every day I have a new package coming in because I'm always trying to figure out what is like the truth. I don't want like I am a product junkie, but I don't want to have a place that's just overflowing with stuff. I want things that are like solid, like real solid stuff. Um, so I'll get back to you. You
That's
know who that
easy.
was?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure that once I find like my thing. However, I will say, um, I think it's called biotech. Bio, I think it's biotech. I've only seen it sold in like Whole Foods or like health food stores. It's expensive, y'all. It's a mouthwash. It's like $10. It's a lot. But when I tell you, you do not wake up with morning breath. It is the truth. I love it. So it's worth the $10. It's worth the $10. So I'll get back with you on the toothpaste, but that mouthwash is.
So I'll also try to get all of these things from her and put them in the comments.
You know what?
But
Maybe I'll do a what do they call those things now?
real
It's the thing that
guide.
no guide.
Hmm.
I'll do a guide. I'll create a guide.
Wait,
Wash and
before you go into her, your point of it being $10. Since we're talking about creating better health practices and lifestyles, also think about the money that you're saving by spending this $10 that you normally would have put in going to the doctor. Okay. Now,
that part too. And you
wash
know,
and
because
moisture.
another thing with see, I feel like people know this, so you probably don't. But the reason why like mint or menthol or all that kind of stuff was added to toothpaste has no well, I should before I say why. It has there's no ground for its efficacy in cleaning your mouth.
It
It
feels
just
free.
makes you feel good, right? It feels fresh, but it actually does absolutely nothing. Like
I'm
it's
okay
just
with that. I'd
right.
rather have gel, minty, clean breath.
If anything, go for like a flavor that's like cloves because when you chew cloves are yes, I know, or even cinnamon, um because those in nature those are actually sweeteners to help brighten or freshen breath. Yes, pay for your health up front. Absolutely. Absolutely. um uh this, see, I'm not gonna call her out right now. I'm gonna let her live. I'm gonna let her live. um Face. Face,
Face,
another black
wash and
owned.
moisture. Wash and moisture.
Yes. So with cleanser, as a black owned company, it's called Klur, Klur. Once you start getting over like 35, I don't believe in doing the gel cleanser. Well, let me take that back. I believe that your cleanser should be moisture. Moisture, moisture, moisture. That is it. Like your body is starting to break down. You might not see it, you might not believe it, but you are not as oily as you used to be when you're in your 20s and your teens and all that stuff, right? You're starting to see your skin shift, right? So,
I got a
uh,
question.
huh?
I got a question. I raised my hand.
Okay.
No. So, like, what about people who, because you were like, when you were a kid, I had really dry skin. So, like, what about dry skin people? Is it the same thing? I'm still losing moisture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, so the cleanser, I've dry skin people, oily, all of them. Moisture is important. Oil and think about it, oil and water, two different things. Hydration has nothing to do with oil, right? So when you think about moisturizing and hydrating your body, who cares that you're oily? Like it doesn't mean anything. Like they don't have the same function.
Okay.
So I would recommend the same wash. I said all that to say that the cleanser could go for someone who is dry, someone who is oily, someone who is combination or whatever the case may be. And that is Klur. Yeah, Klur. another black owned company that I think is bomb, really, really bomb. Um, so I would say them. And then for moisturizer, I have so many. So which one would I say is my favorite?
I don't know. Which one would you say?
I would probably say Biosense has really good moisturizers. So like at night I use the heavier cream, and in the day I use one that's the gel. Um, but that you would do depending on whether you are dry or oily. Like you might want something heavier because you're dry,
Hmm.
day or night.
Do they have
Um,
SPF in them?
they don't. And that's fine. You want to put your SPF on last. And my favorite SPF is Black Girl Sunscreen, hands down. No questions asked. It is my favorite. So I know she sells in Target or you can buy online, but you can use it face and body, babies, everybody.
The
How do I
cure
spell?
or the wash or the sunscreen or the moisturizer?
She might be talking about the moisturizer. Biosense is BIOSSANCE. They actually sell that in Sephora. So that's easy to find online or in the store. Most of their products are good, but I would stick more to their moisturizer. I haven't found their serums to be like my favorite yet, but their moisturizers are pretty good.
So, we need a whole class on. So I've recently had a conversation. Well, it was last year, 2020, with a group of friends, the wine and cheese ladies, because two of them in there are literally face or skin addicts at this point. And so there's this whole conversation about serums and the difference and what kinds and when to use them. And I'm like, it needs to be easy for me. I'm an easy girl. It can't be too much work. Like, time is of the essence. And so, for you to, yeah, because we passed our time. So I'm not going to ask my question today, but I'm going to throw it in the hat for something you could do possibly on your channel or your page about why serums, why they're important, what's the difference, what are they for, all of that good kind of jazz. So, one, the young ones will know when and where to start, and then those
Mhm.
others of us will kind of know. Thank you, Jay. Um, will know what to do when we're switching to
Thank
this
you.
lifestyle of luxury
Hmm.
without compromise, right? So, because I'm like,
Hmm.
serums, it's not moisturizer, like. And then I have another friend that use it's. I'm about to jack it all the way up. Not lanolin.
There's the lanolin.
Is it a lanolin? Like
I
the
mean, it's an ingredient inside
No, so
product.
that's not what I'm trying to say. It's like the face cream that our grandmamas used to use, I feel like.
It's probably lanolin.
So anyway, she puts it on every night. I mean, she has beautiful skin, but that's a different story for a different day. So anyway, okay.
Oh, and let me just, for people who are not used to wearing natural deodorants, be very mindful that they are deodorants. They are not antiperspirants.
Do you want to tell them the difference
Okay.
between deodorant and antiperspirant, or the definition?
Antiperspirant, I think, is kind of self-explanatory, where it prevents you from perspiring, from sweating. Deodorants keeps odor at bay. So, clean, natural, whatever you want to call it, as far as deodorants goes, they will not prevent you from sweating, which your body wants to do, anyways.
But will it
So,
keep? So what's more important, not smelling or not sweating? And is there an option to not do both in the clean world?
no, there isn't an option yet. There isn't an option yet. And that is the only thing that I have with play pits. I have other issues with other deodorants. One, if you're going to be sweaty, you shouldn't be stink, right?
Right.
So, like you just said, if you're going to choose, I'm going to choose not to stink. But a lot of them, like I have a baking soda sensitivity, so I would get really dark blotches under my arms and get rashes because they have too much baking soda. Um, and so I've played with enough to know like when one is good. Like, and I know everybody's body is different. I'm that much I know. But this is the only one that has held out this long, and I legit smell like the deodorant. At the end of the day, I do not stink. at all. So just be mindful of that, because a lot of people are like, see, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. But you want your body to detox on a day to day. Yeah, I know, I get it, but
I,
aluminum, lymph nodes, breast cancer, like, is it really worth it?
yeah, this is how real life conversations between us go for the
Yeah.
past 10 years.
Some things might be worth it to some people, and that's fine. For me, that's really important. I have a history of cancer in my family. Two of my aunts have had breast cancer. And so that's just not a risk that I'm willing to take. But everybody knows what their limits are. And if you feel like you can't deal with the sweaty arm, and I don't sweat all day, but there are moments where I'm driving, I'm like, yeah,
I think
it's
that's all
pretty
of us at some point.
it's pretty bad, but I don't stink. I don't feel uncomfortable holding it up here because I know that I don't stink. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, I will say thank you so very much, guys. I mean, I think my friends are pretty dope. I already told you that. Hopefully, you think she's pretty dope after you've learned so much and you've got to know her and all this personality. Uh, but no, seriously. So thank you. Thank you so much for your time. If you guys have not followed her already, please do so. Brown Girl in a Green World. And thank you. I thought it was amazing.
Thank
I thought it was
you.
amazing too. And I
Thank you,
talk to her
ladies.
literally like every day. But
Aw, I love you.
she is though, isn't she? Thanks for sharing her with me, even though we haven't met yet. But I'm just saying, you're family because you're family. But no, I'm gonna stop being silly. We try to be on our best behavior tonight, guys. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for your questions, your comments. I'm going to, like I said, try to get all of these things from her to place them in the comments when I post. I'll put it in the highlights. So there is a No New Friends highlight. And so you'll be able to see everything there. And I think that's it. So we talked about networking. We were talking about
I
getting
know we
clean
went all
and
into a beauty
green,
conversation.
beauty, like pretty much the whole body right about now. And toxins and all that good kind of stuff. So we survived 2020. So taking life seriously and living it intentionally in any aspect that we possibly can, whether it's walking in purpose or the products you put on your body. I hope that you bring that throughout 2021 this year. And so that's one of the reasons why I asked her to be on this week too. So anywho, thank you, ma'am. I
You can
appreciate
invite me.
you.
Tell her to bring me back if you want me back, okay?
We might have to do a part two,
It
part
can't be
three.
called No New Friends because now they know me. So we have to find another
No,
another way for
it
us
is.
to
It's
do this.
KNOW. They know you. They can continue to
Yeah,
know
but
you some more
new.
too.
I'm not new to them anymore.
Oh. Well, you'll
So
be
we
new
don't
to
have
the
our own
new people
show.
who
No, I'm
come.
just playing.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Well,
You're right.
we talked yesterday about doing a whole podcast. So maybe we need to do like a
I
poll.
don't think I was ready. Uh-oh, you're
Don't underestimate
stuck.
them. I'm just saying. Yes, you are there. You're back now.
Oh, there you go. Wait, no. There you go.
You're delayed a little
I
bit.
was
See, it's
following.
telling us that it's over.
What is wrong with you?
Okay,
You a Sprint.
it's her, right? Anyway, we're gonna say good
You got
night.
Sprint. That's all that is.
Shut up talking to me.
Okay, ladies. Bye.
Good night, y'all. Thank you, Tony. Talk to you later.